Is it time?
We're good, right? Yes, sir.
We'd like to call the Board of Zoning Appeals August 21st, 2012 meeting to order. Please stand and join with us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Board of Zoning Appeals is a quasi-legal board composed of resident volunteers of the City of Milton. The board is charged with hearing requests for variances from the standards of the zoning ordinance and appeals of administrative determinations. With regard to decisions on primary variances, the board's basis for decision is provided by these four considerations. A, relief if granted would not offend the spirit or intent of the ordinance. B, there are such extraordinary and exceptional situations or conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property that the literal or strict application of the ordinance would create an unnecessary hardship due to size, shape, or topography, or other extraordinary and exceptional situations or conditions not caused by the variance applicant. And C, relief if granted would not cause a substantial detriment to the public good and surrounding properties. And D, that the public safety, health, and welfare are secured and that substantial justice is done. The signed variance consideration reads as follows. Relief only to the side ordinance may be granted where existing foliage or structures bring about a hardship, whereby a sign meeting minimum letter size, square footage, and height requirements cannot be read from an adjoining public road. This time we'd like to introduce the board members beginning on my left.
Rita Young.
Todd Chernick.
Gary Willis.
Walt Recook.
Jim Hilly.
We need to approve the July meeting minutes. If I can have a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval of the July minutes.
I need a second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same side. Pass 5-0. Our first case is V11-011, 1995 Birmingham Road, to allow an accessory structure to be located in the front yard. Angela, will you please present?
Mr. Chair, staff would like to ask that this case be deferred until the next BZA meeting again. We did send Mr. Matthews an email a couple weeks ago, stating what the state needed from him and what we needed, and we're waiting for his response.
I have a question for staff.
Sure.
I recall the last time we met, he presented, he had a meeting with, I believe it was the state. Was there any update provided from that meeting?
The state did approve, I guess it was a variance. They approved their part of the variance, but there was some information he needed to get back to them. And as far as I know, that hasn't been done yet.
If I could clarify that, I'm on that other board. So basically that case was heard by the Fulton County Soil Water Conservation Service. They did agree that they would grant him permission to build within the overflow area. The only problem is that they did require that he sign a document stating that if the building is ever damaged or if burns down, torn down, whatever, he cannot build back in that same location. And I know we approved at our last meeting, which was last Wednesday, that we agreed with the form of the document that we want him to sign. So he just recently got this new document to get signed.
Okay. Thanks, Walt.
No problem.
Thank you.
We need a motion to defer.
I'll make a motion to defer case V11-011.
Second.
I'll second.
For clarification, the motion to defer until the next meeting.
Sorry, yes, to the next published Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Correct.
Any discussion? We have a motion to defer V11-001 till the September 2012 meeting. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. It passed unanimously. Next case is V12-001, 13540 Highway 9 North, Stone Creek Church. Angela, will you please present?
Mr. Chair, staff is going to ask that this case be deferred for now also, but the applicant is here with an update.
Sir, would you please present? State your name and address.
Good evening. Paul Frank, Alpharetta Print and Sign, 9305 Industrial Trace, Alpharetta, Georgia. Stone Creek Church went through the process trying to find a surveyor to redraw the property and everything to where it becomes one lot as per the requirements. That was determined that to do that would have to be an entire new survey, new measurements. Total cost is about $6,000, and they thought that was a little bit unreasonable and a little bit of a hardship to do just for a sign at this point in time until they can do their construction and, you know, build out the property as they want to in about a year or so. At this point, you know, if we can't have an exception to that rule and the guidelines of the city, that everything be, you know, because the property is consecutive, it is joined together, it's, you know, all touching, and it's from one road to another road, from Highway 9 to Cobburn, and there's a building on that property. If the exception or variance can't be made, then I guess the only exception is I need to ask if we can have a deferment or, you know, indefinite, because I don't know, honestly don't know when they're going to build, and it could be a year or so, or withdraw the motion, and I guess we lose our $250. So, you know, whatever you can do would be appreciated.
Which would work better for you? For us to defer for a long period and then?
An indefinite, you know, deferment, you know, saves them $250. That, you know, at this point, that's the only issue. It's not going to affect me either way, and I don't think it'll affect the church either way. I think the church is somewhat said, well, we might lose our deposit kind of thing. Or, so, yeah, whatever you could do would be appreciated.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I've got a question of staff. Is there any way, I mean, I know they're trying to do a combination plat to prove that this is all one contiguous piece of property.
We submitted that, and it is
And,
a contiguous piece.
And without a combination plat to show it as one contiguous piece of property, is there anything else they could do to possibly maybe draw up one parcel, or have one parcel and just basically do a land swap and maybe incorporate that little piece of area where the sign is into this new legal description or boundary description? In other words, and I have no idea if the properties are contiguous with one another, that it's very close and convenient, where instead of surveying the whole thing, that just a little sliver might go down and touch in the area where the sign might be. I'm just trying to look at ideas, because surveys are based on linear feet, and surveyors have to go out and do that. I'm just trying to think if there's some other way. And I have no idea if they're, you know, right next to each other, or one's back in the front, one's in the back.
There's 3 parcels, basically, and the one parcel is where the building is now on Highway 9. There's one in the middle where the lake is, and then there's one on Cobburn.
Okay.
And parcel 1, where the building is, would not touch parcel 3, so
Okay.
I don't know if that would apply or not.
Well, that's why I was just trying to brainstorm. I'm just trying to come up with an idea that would kind of make sense. What about any permission to go with an off-premise sign? I mean, just out of.
Well, that would be another question I'd ask is, can we do, I mean, there's some signs up there that have been up there for many years, like, you know, for a school that may never show up.
Right.
Which is across the street of where we're asking to put this sign.
Right. So is there any way they can get permission to put an off-premise sign, and if they want to come back and ask for a variance to allow it to go more than a year or something? I don't know.
We just don't have an allowance for an off-premise sign like that in the size that he wants. You know, I think over 12 square feet, there's just no allowance.
Oh, okay. So what's the maximum allowance for an off-premise sign?
Well, we don't have an off-premise sign at all. The signage is based on the size of the building that's on the property. So that's the whole point of getting the combination plat.
Okay. Well, struck out again. I'm trying to think of all the different things I've used in the past to get signs where I needed them.
Yes, sir.
And even though I make signs, I don't like to put signs out where people don't have properties, because it, you know, I understand the reason why you have your rules and regulations for, especially in
Sure.
government. So,
Angela, what would be staff's preference for us as far as considering a longer-term deferral?
Well, we wouldn't be, I don't think we can do it indefinitely. You have to come
No, I
back
was
each
gonna-
month, and
No,
I have
what-
to ask for it to be deferred.
Well, no, you don't have to do it each month. They have the authority to do it a minimum of 30 days.
Same difference. Yeah.
I do, but no, I don't want it indefinite, though.
So you'd like to time box it to, let's say, up to a year, or?
Something specific.
and then in a year, I can come back and ask for another one.
Well, I mean, if we're doing that for $250, is that really good use
That's
of
what I'm
everyone's
saying.
time?
I don't want to waste your time.
Or yours.
And the church is not, you know, $250 is not going to make or break this deal. And the church, and, you know, they understand, yeah, it is what it is.
Well, I think you're hearing that as a board, we don't have the authority
Yeah.
to make a ruling that would be to your pleasure. So if you understand that, what would you prefer to do?
You know, to save everybody headache and accounting and, you know, administrative issues, I think I just would like to withdraw. And thank you for your consideration and your time.
Thank you for coming back so many times.
So,
Well, we have to make a decision on that.
Yeah, no, I know.
I guess we had, how do we handle it?
Well-
We have not had a withdrawal, do, council,
Does he have authority?
from a motion?
Yeah, does he have authority to withdraw? I guess he does. You're our first withdrawal.
I don't need to vote.
should we defer the withdrawal?
There is a provision for you to approve a request for withdrawal as an option for the action you can take on an item. So hearing a request for a withdrawal,
But with him not actually, are you the actual applicant? Does he have
I'm
the
the
authority
agent
to
for the
make that?
Yeah.
I'm the agent for the applicant.
Oh, okay, all right, there you go. Very,
We need a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion for the V12-001. We would ask that it be withdrawn per the applicant's request, and we'll do this without prejudice.
Second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
you can do that now.
I know. We have a motion, V12-001, to withdraw per applicant without prejudice. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Yes, we know.
I heard it, but just telepathic.
V12-001, 13700 State Highway 9 to allow grading in undisturbed buffer. Angela, will you please present?
Mr. Chair, staff would like to ask that this
This is what?
petition be deferred to the next meeting as well. The city will probably have to add a couple more requests to the application, so we're just waiting to finalize everything. And we'll come
So the
back.
city of Milton, in this case, is actually the applicant.
Yes.
They pay $250?
No, no, but they, they wanted to follow their own rules, so.
That was very nice of them.
Okay, so do you expect that this variance request will be amended then?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion to defer case V12-011 until the September meeting.
I second.
Discussion? All in favor of deferring V12-001 to the September 2012 meeting, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. It passed unanimously. New business, old business?
From, I guess it's old business, do we have a copy of the updated bylaws to circulate to the board? Wasn't here for the approval.
We didn't get
Not
that.
with me tonight, but I can certainly get a hold of
Well,
that.
I don't know if they're available on the website, or how are those
Well,
documents
actually,
managed?
I take that back. I mean, I do have a set, if,
I don't
You
need
want to
someone
email
else.
it to me?
Just
I'll email
email's
it to
fine.
them.
yeah.
Yeah. We can just
Like
download
reading.
it.
And thanks for your assistance in getting us get closer
Sure,
on the dangling chads.
Any other business? Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Do we have a second? Yeah, these aren't big enough for me.
I second that.
Oh, we should have just given the
All in
silent
favor, raise your right hand. Passed unanimously.
All right. Band of Brothers, we're giving them the silent treatment next time.
Just look at each other.
What was behind that?
I think
There's been a lot of turmoil.
Got an angel about it.
they finally got sick and tired of it
Yeah.
and said enough.